Try this matchup. Low prices and faster checkout. You can count on it at Fry's.
Welcome to the Arizona Wildcats Video Notebook, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. This is the Thursday edition. I'm Star Sports editor Ryan Finley, joined by the great Daniel Berk. Daniel Berk, by the way, that's I normally just reserve that for Greg Hansen. That's pretty good.
Yes, anytime you can share something with Greg Hansen, it's a pretty good day.
You are the great Daniel Berk because this is a football week. Arizona's basketball season is over. The Wildcats football team is now preparing for its spring game Saturday at a revamped, remodeled Arizona Stadium. Daniel, looking forward, how are you going to watch this game? What positions are up for grabs? And what's going to be kind of the big takeaway for fans who want to come out and watch the Wildcats play?
Well, you start with the quarterbacks. I mean, I think that's where you watch first, and there's certainly no shortage of guys to watch. I mean, they're repping 7 guys still, and that'll be the number one position. And you keep an eye on running back and how that competition is coming without Kadeem Carey. You look at linebacker with no Marquise Flowers and Jake Fisher, and then you look at the cornerback spot opposite Jonathan McKnight with no Shaq Richardson. So those are the kind of the 4 spots that I think are the most intriguing and where they still have the heaviest question marks. But certainly there's no position where there's more uncertainty and more attention than the quarterback spot, because, I mean, there's no more demanding spot in any offense, especially Rich Rodriguez. So that's what you're going to – how are these guys going to react when the lights are – semi-bright, should we call it, and where there are some fans in the stadium, and how is that going to shake out?
Sure, Daniel, we talked yesterday about the quarterback battle and, all the different guys who could factor in. Let's talk a little bit about the running backs. You're not going to replace Kadeem Carey with one guy, but you might be able to replace him with 3. Who are the players who sort of stood out, and are we going to see more of a touches, carries by committee thing going forward?
Yeah, 3 might not be doing it justice.
Okay.
You could have 6, guys, because I think they are going to get extremely creative in how they can get people the ball. You're going to have your natural running backs. You're going to have the Pierre Cormets, the Zach Greens, Nick Wilson coming in as a true freshman. You're going to have those guys. But then I think they are determined to find ways to get Devontae Neal, 5 to 8 to 10 carries a game, whether they line them up in the backfield or the slot. Same with Samaje Grant. Same with T.J. Johnson. Get Garrick Wharton some carries on sweeps. They're going to get their receivers involved in the run game, and there's no one's going to have 48 carries in a game like Kadeem Carey did against Oregon. That is not going to happen. So you're going to have as many as, seriously, 5, 6 guys getting multiple carries a game. Devontae Neal is the guy that really intrigues me. Him and T.J. Johnson, because these guys are receivers by trade. T.J. Johnson has really been working with the running backs, and I think that they're going to find ways to use those 2 guys, kind of like a Percy Harvin, a Tavon Austin, a DJ Foster at Arizona State, if we're looking for a more at-home comparison. How can we get those guys the ball right away without having to air it out to them? And they're going to get creative. And Rich Rodriguez and Calvin McGee and Rod Smith, these guys, are creative.
Sure, and if there's one thing that we all learned watching college football is you don't need to touch the ball 20 times a game to be an impact player. Look at DeAnthony Thomas. I mean, to me, kind of a singular talent in the Pac-12, if not in the country. He was a guy who would have 8 carries for 165 yards. He's a guy who might not be a natural running back or a natural receiver, but they found a way to put the ball in his hands, and he rewarded them by breaking off big runs.
Yeah, that's why they pay you the big bucks, because that's a great comparison. That's what they want to try to do with Devontae Neal, is have him be like their DeAnthony Thomas or T.J. Johnson, or even Samaje Grant. That's what they want, is a game breaker like that where you don't need to get them the ball 25 times a game, but the 8 or 9 that they do, they're making game-breaking plays.
Sure. This is the Arizona Wildcats Video Extra, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. Ryan Finley here with Daniel Berk. Daniel, we pay you to know a little something about just about everybody on the roster. Give me 2 guys who might not be on the 2 deep or might not be playing much on Saturday who can make some big impact here in the fall.
Well, there's one guy I really like, a linebacker, DeAndre Miller. He played as a true freshman last year, but really only special teams. He didn't really get any reps at linebacker. He has that prototypical 6'3", 210, 220 linebacker size. He's quick, he's athletic, and they really like him.
Walk-on guy?
No. Scholarship guy out of Buckeye. Like I said, played on special teams as a true freshman. He's a guy that I think can really make an impact. And then there's another guy that I wrote about a couple weeks ago, Parker Zellers. Kind of love this guy. 6'1", 255 nose tackle. He is a walk-on out of Scottsdale Notre Dame Prep. And you know Bill Kurlavich a little bit, the defensive line coach. And when he falls in love with someone, it's over. He's in love with Parker Zellers. And this guy he just makes plays. And they do that board drill, in spring practice where it's mano a mano, one guy. And he blows these scholarship guards and centers up. And it just ignites the whole team, and that's what they're looking for. He's number 93, and he's a pit bull in there at nose tackle, and he's a guy they really like. That he might not be an impact guy next year, but he's got 4 years left to play. He's going to make a mark on this program at some point in the future.
God, 6'1", 255. They like their receivers to be bigger than 6'1", 255.
And he'll get bigger. I mean, he will get bigger. I don't know if he's going to grow, but he'll get bigger. And Tevin Hood was six flat, and he held it down that position okay. And I don't think he's ever going to be their starting guy, but he's a guy that you can bring in on some third downs, to spell some guys. But nose tackle's a position where they're looking for anyone right now. If you have any eligibility left, go out there and give Kurlav a call because they're looking for guys.
Well, if there's one thing that we've learned in this 3-3-5 defense, Daniel Berk, is in many ways it all hinges on what the nose can do.
Right.
Is if the nose can take on two guys, everybody else can freewheel around them. The problem is Arizona has really been unable to find and identify a recruit nose tackle. They're pretty good at getting bounce back guys like a Tevin Hood, pretty good at identifying some maybe lesser known guys, but they've yet to have kind of that, big daddy in the middle who can kind of take up some space and let the other guys, play.
There's no question. And they really like the ends that they have this year, and Reggie Gilbert and Dan Petnato. They really like those two guys. So if you can get a nose to get some attention in the middle. I think they thought that they maybe had that in Jeff Worthy, former Boise State guy, played at a JC last year, and I think his spring's been okay. I don't think he's wowed them, but he's a guy that I think they hope can be that. They have a guy named Marcus Griffin coming in who was a 4-star recruit, but are you going to be ready to play that position as a true freshman? Probably not. So, but that's something that they definitely want to get locked down. They, on both, they're looking for that. Denard Robinson, Pat White on offense, and looking for that big daddy, as you called it, nose tackle on defense.
Gosh, I'm a new dad for the viewers who don't notice my wristbands here.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. They are going to be, if they pursue sports, Daniel Berk, left-handed specialists, Thursday, Sunday backup catchers, or if they're bigger boys, nose tackles. Because nose tackles make a ton of money, and all they got to do is take up space. It's kind of nice.
Yes. Sean and Jake, built for it, man.
Well, we'll address that slight a little later, Daniel Berk. But
no, that wasn't a slight. I'm done. They're ready.
We're going to sign off for now. For Daniel Berk, I'm Ryan Finley. This is the Arizona Wildcats Video Extra brought to you by Fry's Food Source. Daniel, we will talk one more time before the spring game, then we'll probably wrap it up early next week, too.
Sounds good.
Keep tuning in. Keep watching. We'll see you then.